we're just a platform, so a lot of times they don't actually research anything and just take down content.
Mm-hmm.
Testing. All right. Went ahead and turned this on. Skip it by. Oh, he's camping out. Oh, is he now? That's hilarious. Sorry, a friend. It's like, why? Oh, you're live too. Oh, you're outside of GameStop. Okay, because it is Monday, and tomorrow morning is the day. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
I don't know how I feel about fried turkey.
What do you?
It's excessive as fuck, but it's so good. Also, I'm with Kenny. I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
It's like, how do you not know how you feel? What?
Because I guess I just haven't had
feel.
good fried turkey.
I'm gonna speak directly to your feelings. All right. These are
You mean my
delicious
stomach?
morsels. Well, I guess I'm talking to your stomach to affect your feelings so that your brain doesn't say something like that again. Okay. Hurtful.
Bobby, I ain't had no good fried turkey yet, all right?
Mm.
It is quite an undertaking, I must say. It's not easy by any means.
Can't it, like, explode or something if you do it wrong?
What? Yes.
I feel like that's fried anything, though. It's just
That's
degree
true.
of explosion.
Yeah, it's water plus hot oil equals really, really bad. So, yeah. A lot of the process of frying a turkey is, like, drying it out adequately, which usually requires, like, cold refrigeration for several days. And a lot of people don't have that kind of fridge space most of the time, honestly.
I gotcha.
Like I said, undertaking. But delicious. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, I'm done talking about.
Oh, no, you're good. Now I'm thinking about, like, smoking a turkey because I live in Memphis and that's what we do.
Oh, God, you make me jealous over here in a great white north.
Don't be jealous. Like, there's some cool things about Memphis, but there's also some not cool things. You're good.
Mostly y'all's smoking meats, barbecuing meats. Chicago just doesn't. There's some good stuff. Y'all do it better.
Tell you what,
we're a lot less saturated with good barbecue compared to you guys. We have to look for our good barbecue.
That's
Speaking
true.
of which, Sarah, I do want to share it. I found a jerk barbecue place that is I cannot believe how good it was. I'll share it. I cannot believe how good it was. Next time y'all are in Chicago and it's safe to you, I'm taking y'all out for dinner. I swear to God.
jerk barbecue.
Yeah, hang on a second. I got it.
I'm gonna play around with that idea now because that sounds like a good combination of flavors.
It's just called Jerk. Period. Jamaican barbecue. It's on West Chicago.
Oh yeah, I used to bike past there all the time.
It's so fucking good. I cannot believe how good it was. Like, I was like not expecting very much, if I'm being honest, because like I don't know, man. Barbecue in Chicago is kind of sus sometimes, but it was just it was so good. It was so good.
All right, so one day we're gonna have a Nerd Union barbecue fest, and
Yes, we are.
Yes, please.
yeah, after
I will-
COVID.
I will bring dessert because I don't know how to. Yeah.
Kenny and I are gonna fusion a bunch of barbecue styles together.
Yes.
Yes.
I got bread. I can do bread.
Good. I can't.
Also, can we have a mustard sauce, please? I know that's like really Carolina and not what you guys really do, but I love mustard sauce, mustard-based
Yeah.
sauces.
No, we can do it. It's becoming more of a common thing now. It's
I
not
really
just like
like
a
it.
Carolina thing anymore.
Just an extra little kick of acid is like I'm all about it. So
Yeah, and there's like a thing where you basically like paint the whole thing in mustard before you start smoking it. And use it as a binder, and then you put your like
Shit's wild,
rub and
son.
stuff on top of it. So like you let the mustard settle in, and then you go back and like put the rub on top of there, so then your
I'm
bark
just-
gets flavored with the rub.
salivating so hard.
Keep
right
sweet
now.
talking me here.
And then you let it sit there for an entire day. And I want to say an entire day. I mean, a literal 24-hour block of time.
Wow. Just like,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
All right, welcome to State of the Nerd Union, where we talk about everything nerdy and apparently barbecue.
Hey, we can nerd out on food.
I'm
Yeah,
always
that's
down
true.
for,
We can nerd
nerd,
out on
for food nerdery every single time. I will do it. I'm there.
We're gonna have like a Nerd Union cooking show or something like that one day.
I'm not.
The Great Nerdy
Don't-
Bake Off.
Don't fuck with me. Do not fuck with me.
That would be dope. Tonight we have our host Kenny and myself. We're also joined by Songdi and Sarah tonight, who are quite excited to bring you some news on some Mass Effect. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump straight into that because I don't really know how to transition to that because I'm just too excited about more Mass Effect. So go ahead.
Yeah.
hmm So we got confirmation Saturday and 7-Day, November 7th, for those of you not familiar, that we are finally getting a remaster of the whole original trilogy. So 1, 2, and 3 are confirmed with their attached DLC coming in spring of 2021. If I remember that date correctly, I was mostly yelling.
That's fair.
But they showed Garrus twice, which gives me hope that maybe we might get to smooch him in the first game. I'm not putting money on it, but I'd be happy at it.
Yeah, this is super, super exciting news. In addition to mentioning the fact that we are in fact getting the remaster in 2021, Casey Hudson also mentioned that they are in fact working on the next installment already. This is all they can tell us at this time. They just briefly mentioned that there is a veteran team at BioWare who are starting the next chapter. So it's probably going to be a while before we get some more news, but y'all, my nerd heart is beating out of my chest so hard right now, I can't even take it. I must say, I've been replaying actually Mass Effect 3 this fall, and that game hits real different when you yourself, we ourselves, are kind of dealing with all of the crises that are happening right now. The pandemic, a huge, invisible, overwhelming force that is really fucking with all of us, on top of the political crisis happening, which listen, I'm not calling Trump Cerberus or anything, or the elusive man, because he's not that smart. But y'all know what I'm saying. It's hitting real different. It's hitting real different. So yeah, super looking forward to those remasters. And as of press time right now, I do not believe that they will be making any major changes to the games. Hudson stated that this is largely going to be an improvement of, you know, kind of the visual elements of shaders, textures, etc., as well as fixing up some technical pieces. So for those of you who loved the Mako in the first game, sorry, it may not be as janky anymore.
I want to
Rest in
touch
peace.
everything else up but leave the Mako because it is such an experience. Slash, you know the fans will riot. Like
They would. Yeah, I'm totally with Sarah here. They're right. If BioWare wants to do this right, they gotta leave the Mako in the way it is in the first game. Y'all remember how to drive it. Muscle memory is the thing.
just vertical.
But,
Just go straight up.
it's like trying to drive the Warthog for the first time. Like it's an experience.
Warthog at least had decent physics behind it.
It's like a rite of passage for life.
Yo,
Like, you
at
have
least At
Go
least
ahead.
Mako always landed on its tires, though, just like a pair of Vans or whatever that shoe brand is. That y'all have seen that video for. I know you have.
It's like the whole butter and bread thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wait. I would love to see them specifically not touch up on a few things just for fans' sake. Like, just to be aware, like, we know what we're doing here.
We know you like this bug, which was actually a feature. Wink, wink, nod, nod, nudge, nudge.
They're not bugs, they're features.
Not gonna lie though, I am super stoked for Mass Effect 1 with like an ME2 or ME3 shooter style.
Yeah, I was wondering about that aspect of like whether or not they're going to change any of the gameplay style for the first one. Because I know like there's a huge difference in how the first one plays versus like the last one. And I want to know if they're going to, in some way, shape, or form, like try to smooth that out a little bit. Especially because, man, I know so many people like whatever qualms they had with the storyline, like they were all incredibly pleased with how well the third one played.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
will say I guess this is part where part of me kind of wishes it was more like a Halo 2 anniversary remake, where you have that easy ability to toggle back and forth between the styles. So like if I want to see what Halo 2 looked like, but also just you have that legacy of control schemes that goes across. Like you can they tried to hodgepodge the best of like, all right, if you liked bumper jumper in Halo 3 and so on and so forth when it became a standard, we've kind of put something together that will work for you and like Halo 1, Halo 2. So like having something like that in Mass Effect would be really, really cool. But I know they're just saying remaster, so I don't know how much, I don't know how much they're really, words.
English.
English, I'm trying.
Or whatever
Cannot
language you want to speak,
to
honestly.
excite brain.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, so remains to be seen. Obviously, there are going to be more details coming soon, which I'm sure Nerd Union will be covering to the best they can. Yeah, super, super excited.
AKA, they will not let us live it down if we don't cover it. So.
No, totally. I won't let them see it.
I know where at least one of you lives.
Yes.
And
I don't, so I will be counting on Sarah for this information.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I'm also pretty glad that they're not like automatically shipping it to the new consoles because the transition phase might take a while for people given like financial strains happening on families at the moment. So like the fact that they're doing this on PC, PS4, and Xbox One, that's a good thing to me. And I wonder how much it's going to scale up, honestly. Now that I'm thinking about how they've been doing like the whole scaling thing for the new consoles.
Yeah.
I really wonder what that's going to look like on the Series X.
I mean, it's saying they're gonna have enhancements, so I assume they're gonna let it. Could we get some like 60,
bit
60
general,
frames?
But,
60 FPS, Mass Effect 1.
I mean,
do we want that though? There's a little. Listen. This is the same reason that I really struggle with watching films at higher frame rates because it just looks wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a little part of me that kind of like, if they want to improve the weapon system and the way the combat works, great. But I don't know. There's a part of me that wants the lower frame rate just for old time's sake. I might be the minority here. Feel free to absolutely tell me to shut up because
No, you're good. I kind of feel this on like so like with Kingdom Hearts. Yes, I'm one of those people. Leave me alone.
You're not alone, friend.
Yes. All right. So Kingdom Hearts 1. When I played the Kingdom Hearts 1 game on my PS4, like it's good, but like they scaled everything up with the visuals and everything, and it does feel like something's off when I'm playing it. Like it's just I was like, I want them to dumb this down just a little bit. But on that same note, when I played Kingdom Hearts 3, there's a particular thing that happened in that game that I noticed, and I really want to see if it's going to play out like this with some of the newer games that they're doing backscaling and forward scaling with. So there's a very distinct difference between the characters when you're playing on pretty much any level in the game, and then how they look in their costumes for the Pirates of the Caribbean world. Because in that game, they are so much like more detailed and look more human and realistic on the Pirates of the Caribbean world. But it's the same characters, and that scaling takes place within the game itself. So I'm curious as to whether or not they're going to have something like that for like Mass Effect and other games that are coming out with the new consoles.
Yeah, I would also be curious to see if they do something like a Halo. I imagine that is probably more work than EA wants to put in because it's EA and they want the quick buck. But
That money.
but yeah, like, could you toggle? Because yeah, if we're getting like Destiny level graphics with unfortunate like same, you're looking at the same skeletons, the same frame rate, whatever from Mass Effect 1, yeah, that's gonna look janky as hell.
Yeah.
The upscaling is not going to save the inherent problems that were already in the system from 2007.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah, like you'd have to do a full reskin skeleton to the poly models, which with some of the textures and stuff they're going to have to do anyway, just by virtue of the poly count of what games could handle in 2007 versus what they can handle now.
Millions of triangles.
Millions of triangles.
Billions. Well,
But yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
curious to see where they invest their time and money, especially given that all three games came out at very different points in sort of video game timeline.
Yeah.
Because 2007 was pre-EA acquisition. Like, they had different resources. It was still early. That was still 360, but it's like early days 360 because it was originally an Xbox exclusive.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah.
We're that old.
Like-
Oh no.
those were the days, man.
That's what 3 is
Yeah.
now 12 years old or some shit.
Yes, it is.
Like,
It came out,
La
it came
la
out in,
la
it came
la
out in
la
2012.
la.
So,
Wow.
8 years old, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
There you
Just
go.
a little bit better.
It's still under a decade.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see how they change that up, especially because, like, I don't know. I just remember, like, looking at the gameplay between them, like, I almost get, like, KOTOR vibes when I look at the first one. How it plays
Yes.
versus, like, the Destiny-style gameplay. And when I say Destiny-style, I should say, like, Destiny has, like, Mass Effect 3 gameplay. But
That's really what it is. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
But no, 2 and 3 are a lot more alike than 1 is like 2 or 3.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this. I'm really curious to see how much they're going to change it. I'm really excited that it's coming out next year.
Same. I don't have any more time this year to add other games.
Yeah.
We got Beyond Light starting tomorrow. We got Cyberpunk in December. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, there's enough coming out by the end of this year. Even in the next week, there's enough coming
Oh my
out.
God.
Yeah.
But speaking of things that are coming out in the next week, so we found out that the PS5 is going to be a region-free console. So that means that you can basically take games from other countries and just bring them onto your PS5 that you bought here, wherever here may be for you, which is the cool part, and just play it.
One thing we'll note though, the localization may not be available. Just so gamers should be probably already know that if you're buying something from another country, it's not always may not always have your language available for you. So.
Yeah, it'll be cool for the games that do, because I know there's games that do have that available, but they don't have it in this country. But yeah. All right. Yeah. We're gonna say bye to Songdi because she really wanted to talk about Mass Effect, and we really wanted her here to talk about it because it's gonna be cool. All right, thanks for hanging with us tonight.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
But yeah, with the region locked or with the region free stuff, I don't know. I feel like that's becoming kind of more of a norm, and I like that. I'm not necessarily somebody who ships consoles from or games from other countries, but I like that I have that option if there's something that I really want to play and they're just not bringing it over.
It's the number of, especially JRPGs that this is going to open up. I remember playing that early eBay game and hoping that it worked on whatever system I had at the time. So it's kind of cool that that is less of a barrier now for folks, and even if I can't understand it, that's fine. I'm still excited to play things that I might not have gotten the opportunity to otherwise.
Yeah. That's one of the big deals. I remember with Phantasy Star Online 2, I've been really angry for the past 6 years because I've wanted to play this stupid game for so long. And it was just specifically Japan only, despite the fact that there was software that existed that could translate it. And then they had region-free Switch stuff. And I was like, oh, I can just make a Japanese account and play. So I don't know. I'm very glad that that's becoming more of a norm. Honestly, I don't understand why it wasn't in the first place a thing. Yeah. Okay. So money. I honestly didn't know if it was like a programming thing or not because I don't speak programming, but
A lot of it, at least speaking from my experience and research into anime, I'm gonna out myself as a weeb. It's fine.
it's okay. So are we.
A lot of it is licensing and like, can a stateside publisher get the license so they then get, you know, distribution rights and all of that fun stuff. And this is how we've ended up with things like Funimation. And
Oh, okay.
I think so. Conversation for another time, but I think Sony is making a pitch to buy Crunchyroll now, which would make them the biggest provider of anime stateside and would give them ownership of the two biggest publishers.
Crunchyroll and do they own Funimation?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. That's monopolistic.
Yeah, they that was 2017. They acquired Funimation. So.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, tangentially related, but not really. Anyway,
That's
yeah, the way at least Japan to North America works, there's a lot of money to be made in that licensing situation. So having region locks makes you more money.
crazy. I did not realize it was such a what's the word I'm looking for? Financially based decision, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
From the early TV gaming days, like the tube TVs, you had the NTSC versus PAL standard on how things were converted on TV. So
Yeah.
they kind of had this scapegoat of like, well, look, it actually won't play. And it's like,
Will
is
it
is that really what it is?
Yeah, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I don't really know. I haven't really heard about a lot of games that are gonna be region exclusive that are coming out for any of the consoles. Honestly, and I haven't heard about any recently for like the previous consoles that have been like pretty much. I feel like everything has been globally released.
So I mean, they've done again. That guy's. I think that's why localization is more kind of the bigger thing on that, which is what I would want to see them do more because you can at least track back to the PS3 having a lot of region-free ability there. You could still run into some issues on a particular game just not working well. So I'd say like over the last couple of, especially like the last 2 or 3 console generations, the ability has been there. It's still more on the publisher of like how many languages are you going to make available, or like the ease of like reading your menus and so on and so forth. Like you'll look on GameFAQs and you'll see that they've like people will come up with these menu guides just so you can start to like. You know, they did that in the past, but they're still having to do it in 2020. So I think that localization base is really, really massive to like that getting better.
Yeah, but it's really good for all the bilingual people that don't need that. So
Yeah,
if I ever find any like good Spanish video game publishers, I'll be really excited about that. But moving on to the other console that's releasing, so Microsoft is releasing a console this week. And I say has because some of you might have gotten your Xbox Series X a little earlier than expected. But Microsoft is cool with that, apparently. There are several services that aren't going to be available yet, but they said that if you get your Xbox early, you can basically just start it up and then you'll be able to keep going with the games once it actually releases. I wish that we had gotten ours early, but it's not quite that fortunate.
If I'd known that was going to happen, I wouldn't have done store pickup. I would have done.
Oh my
I would have
gosh,
got them shipped.
It actually makes me think of the time that Sarah got her copy of Mass Effect Andromeda early.
That did happen. Then I had to sit on it because didn't want it to
did it not work?
Well, no, I had promised a friend I would play it with them.
Oh.
So I think I booted up and like played the intro so I could write the initial release article, and then was like, "Cool, I gotta wait." Self-imposed, but
Oh man.
That's funny. Ken, you had some news about Take-Two buying Codemaster, I believe. I don't really know a lot about any of those games in that series.
Yeah, so the dirt racing series is what most they do. Also do a Formula One sim, but the dirt racing series is what they're going to be most known for, and have also provided physics engines on numerous games as well. So Take-Two buying that's kind of a big deal. It was nearly $1 billion purchase, so it ended up being like $973 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. I didn't realize it was that popular.
Mm-hmm.
All right then. There's been a lot of like acquisitions happening this year in particular, I feel like. Or maybe it's just like it's more noted in the news because there's not as much going on, but it seems like there's been a lot of people buying studios and kind of like conglomerating everything.
But I also think it goes back to that services thing we've been talking about.
That's true.
Trying to get as many horses in the stable so that when you're providing these game services on your console, it's like, you want to come to our side because we're going to have Bethesda, right? We're going to have Rare, right? And like just kind of go down the laundry list.
We've got Banjo.
I haven't made a new one in a long time, but whatever.
That's okay. He's in Smash Brothers now. You can get your Banjo fix there.
Is it the same though?
Thank you, Sarah.
No, but
It's
yeah.
not.
If you just want some weird, wacky stuff, then yeah. But
I mean, that is also Smash Brothers in a nutshell, but
yeah, I really need to do like an entire post about like everything that is Smash Brothers and the good and the bad one day. But speaking of things that are coming that are kind of not the normal, we've got a game that's coming out for all of you Pokemon or Temtem players for that matter. So there's a game that's coming out sometime maybe in the next year. It just released a Kickstarter campaign last Thursday. It's called Anatons. And Kenny, are you going to be pulling up the video for that today or no?
I will be.
Okay. So Kenny's going to pull up a video of this trailer for a little bit, but it's basically another in the monster catching Pokemon style vein. Pokemon's never really had a real competitor in that genre outside of like a couple of Digimon games and like Monster Rancher back in the day, which I would love to see another Monster Rancher game, honestly, but we'll see if that ever happens. So this game is a little different, unique. It's actually got a few features in there that people have been asking for quite some time in the Pokemon series, honestly. It'll allow you to do things like build a home for you and your Pokemon, or Anatons, I'm sorry. In the trailer, you'll see them having a whole lot more customization available to players who are playing the game. You see them interacting with your environment way more than we've ever interacted with our environments in Pokemon. So much so to the point that, like, so say you have your little home base set up and things like that. You will be doing things like having your electric Pokemon, they will power generators at your camp. And so providing power, your water Anatons will be shooting water onto your plants to make sure that their water is healthy. Obviously your environment, stuff like that. They seem to have a lot more intricacy about this, and they have various different elements that are going on. And one of the interesting things about this is that the evolution lines in the game aren't set, I guess is the word that I would use. So they stated that with the starter Anatons that you get, they'll have like 2 evolutions total, but the last evolution is based on what stat you want them to go into. And they haven't stated how many more have different varying evolution lines like that, but I think that's a really unique aspect of how to do that. Provided a lot of different types of strategies around that. But I'm also a huge Pokemon nerd, so I'm really excited about a possible competitor for that. I would love to see another good game in that genre. Kenny looks a little sus of that idea.
No, Pokemon can use some competition. It's not that Pokemon's bad. I wouldn't say that. I think anyone that goes that far.
No.
Oh, the new ones, the Sword and Shield, terrible. No, it's not. But, the Dynamaxing was like, okay. This is just not. I was about one gym. Well, nope. Enjoy this game.
That's not gonna There apparently also is another feature that's going to exist in this game that's similar to Dynamax. We haven't gotten a lot of details about that. But another interesting thing that they're doing with this is that so people who are part of the Kickstarter campaign will get an exclusive Anaton, and I don't know how I feel about that. like to have anatons that are exclusive to people that are paying money instantly makes it a pay-to-win scheme, and that's not really what I want out of any game in that genre whatsoever.
That's what Pokemon Go is, isn't it?
I don't feel like it is, but I also see. Okay, I've heard that from people before, but I also have managed to get every single legendary and mythical that they've had without paying any money into it. So
But how much
I
do
don't
you
feel like
play?
it's an. I play pretty casually, honestly.
Fair.
It's just the game is. I've also been playing it since it started, so I have enough stuff built up that like it doesn't matter that like they want people to pay to be able to like access things faster because I've just been playing it forever. Then I don't know. Like any kind of pay to win scheme in a game like that is frustrating to say the least.
Well, I guess the question is, will that Anaton ever be made available elsewhere? Because, so if I bring Pokemon up again, you think about there's been a Mew release. There's been various shiny Pokemon releases when Nintendo was doing like those DS access point things and like the Toys R Us. And I remember like, yeah, if you come here, you'll be able to get the Pokemon if you like sync up with the station here. Because it was Celebi, the
Celebi, yeah.
In particular, was you had to go. I want to say it was Toys R Us. Like it's been on the game now, but one of the first ways to get it was going to that Toys R Us access point. So I think it's more of if it's locked out and you can't get it, I'm totally with you. Like I'm not like that sucks. But if it's more of a pre-order first perk and you'll eventually be able to get it later, just not initially, then okay.
Yeah, and that would be really cool to see them do something like that. That's kind of been the whole like pre-order access with game stuff issue lately in general. But you'll probably hear more about that in the future. That's all the details we have about that so far. I am a specific nerd of that genre, so I'll probably talk about it eventually.
Yeah.
But to our main points tonight, we really want to get down to the nitty-gritty of the Xbox versus the PS5 for this generation because it releases tomorrow, and so those decisions are going to get made for this holiday season. So we want to try to help inform you about what's going on with each of the consoles, what are you getting, which one's better for y'all. But yeah, Sarah's gonna head out. Thanks for having them on the show. We love just like having her or having them on the show. So it's been really good talking to you. Bye.
Bye.
So Kenny, you're getting both consoles this week, right?
I am.
All right. And are you waiting in line tomorrow morning for both?
After a long fought battle. No, I guess we talk a few pre-order things. Is that do not have to wait in line.
Okay.
So what were some things I found out? So yeah, you and me had fought hard to try to get the Series X. Got thoroughly smacked on our bottoms.
Yeah.
And then finally was able to get one on Best Buy later during the day. So Best Buy sent out emails just asking folks like, hey, come schedule a time or a window to come in and get yours. So there's probably still I assume they're going to have some in store, and people are probably in line right now tonight, waiting overnight to go get those in the morning. So there will be some available. But when I got mine on Best Buy, they sent out an email like, hey, we're going to, from the time the store opens at 6, I believe they're opening it early at 6 a.m. to help knock out the folks waiting in line. But yeah, if you pre-ordered, they had like these 30-minute time window slots. So cool thing for Series X, I'll just walk in there and go. GameStop didn't have that. So maybe people that ordered online had that ability. Since I had to wait in line to get mine at GameStop, they just said just come into the store. And the only thing that you would have to watch out for is they might call you if something was going to come up where it wasn't going to be available on the launch day. So it seems like everybody got that first wave of PS5s, and then the wave I was in, that second wave, is going to get them on launch day. I don't know about any waves after that so far.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting to see. I'm glad. It's really cool seeing Best Buy do something like that. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about having you're obviously going to have the huge rush at the start of the day, but make sure that everybody has an access time that they can get their stuff.
Yeah, just cut down the pandemonium a little bit.
Yeah. Just get people to be a little less crazy. So I got to ask, which one are you more excited about and why?
All right. I want to, this is it's hard. Because I've been thinking about that. And I was going to do like a pre-play test verdict at the end. But yeah, just my excitement's a little more toward the PS5. just because.
Okay, why is that?
Just because I'll at least have something on it to test it as like a actual PS5 game. Now, it's not saying that we don't have that for Xbox Series X. And then, like you were saying earlier, we could argue that Miles Morales is not a true PS5 game. It's like we could argue that. It was like, but I still think the PS5 version for Miles Morales, from what I've seen already in video and the people that have been able to playtest it before us, looks really darn good. It looks like there's gonna be a PS4 version, but the PS5 version is like legit. It's good. Plus, I pre-ordered Demon Souls, which is obviously the remaster from the first Demon Souls, but that's a PS5 game. That's not.
Well, it's a remake, right?
Yeah, remake. So there's not just I might have said remaster. Sorry. So that's full fleshed out remake of Demon Souls, and that's PS5 exclusive. So that's actually going to be able to, I didn't pick up Godfall. I kind of want to see what people think about that first. So I was like, I'd rather I can play for Demon Souls again and get remade.
Well, Godfall is also a timed exclusive too, so.
Yeah. And that's another thing we'll note down when we get to the bottom, is that some of the games, even ones that are on, like, Yakuza Like a Dragon, that comes on Xbox, it's like, it will be on PS5 eventually.
Right.
Now, if Halo was coming out tomorrow,
it'd be a different story.
It'd be a Series X all day, every day. Just not even close.
But the PS5 would be sitting in the box for like a month at least.
No, I can get it hooked up. But that's
But would you turn it on?
Not until I got done with Halo.
I'm trying to think. Xbox. So I really can't think of any games that are releasing immediately on the Xbox. Anyways, like. Even stuff that's like supposed to be a exclusive, or not backwards, or backwards exclusive, I guess. Yeah. I really can't think of any games that are coming out tomorrow for Xbox at all.
Yeah, because everything else is like Assassin's Creed, which I'm hearing good things about Valhalla. So
Assassin's Creed is there. Yeah.
Good Lord, Assassin's Creed's been milked to death. So it's not that the game's gonna be bad. I'm just not excited about it. You get another Black Ops, the Cold War.
Yeah, it's the same thing again.
And it's 100. So that PC note I made last week. No, apparently that's for the consoles as well, as far as that storage being over 100 gigs.
Okay.
Like it's crazy. That's not something It's not something I'm super eager to go install on my.
Well, if you think about like the Series S only has like 512 gigabytes. That's before you think about like system storage for all the programs that exist just of the system. So really, you've only got like 386 or something like that. And so if you install like Call of Duty, that's like a third of your entire memory gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There is the Destiny stuff that's coming out tomorrow or this week. This week,
yeah. So Dying Light is exclusive.
Beyond Light.
Oh, Beyond Light. Yeah. Was it starts off as an Xbox exclusive?
Does it? I didn't know that, actually. I know that it's supposed to come out this week, but I didn't know it was an exclusive for that point.
I apologize, viewers. Maybe I need to double check. Maybe I need to double check that, or maybe it was Game Pass. Maybe that was going to be available on Game Pass. That might have been what it was. Maybe not. It was going to be exclusive. It might have been that it was going to be on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is going to be on Game Pass, and so you'll have access to all the future Destiny DLCs per Game Pass. Mm-hmm. And that'll be really cool for players because then they can see like the maxed out version of Destiny that they currently have, which is going to be gorgeous because it's already gorgeous. But
I mean, I'm still excited. Like, it's going to be, from what I've already seen, loading times are insane. Let's just
they're so short
across both systems. And while PS5 may not have the same quick resume compared to the Series X, like it has that checkpoint system, which I want to play with that more when I get it this week. And I've seen something. I want to see more. I need to look at more people that are using that. But it's not the exact same. Quick resume is more of like almost like tabbing over. Is how fast it is. Like it's not as fast as switching the tab on your Firefox. To be clear, I'm not saying like that. But it's the videos, and you've seen the timers people put up. The load times just from sleep mode. Like it was almost like the same speed of just hitting the on button on your TV.
Right.
And just loading a game up from start, from where it hasn't been on quick resume or anything, just turning it on. It's still insane. All right. So those things add up to just making everything feel even though like visually, like there's gonna be differences and like improvements there. You know, it's this, and obviously it's not like an N64 to a GameCube kind of graphic jump. You know, like PS2 to PS, like it's nothing like that. But just the feel of speed on this thing is going to be something I think we'll have to kind of get used to.
Yeah, and we're going to get into performance a little bit more, but I just thought about something else with this. I wonder how much difference it's going to be when it comes to the input lag of controllers versus like screen time. So like, what if you're playing something like Destiny or something like that you've already been playing on like PS4 or Xbox, and you jump to the new console and the input lag is like a lot less?
I think I think it'll be all right. I haven't really heard any reporting out of that. The thing I have heard some interesting things of input lag or issues with the going backwards. So anything that's been like a PS4 or actually this is more located to Xbox. This is the one where I heard the issue. So I can't say this for Sony. Metal Jesus he's a game collector on YouTube. He was trying to go back through some of his Xbox and 360 games on the Series X and was noticing some like visible lag or like slowdowns as he's playing, particularly in the trigger buttons. So that's one I got the list of games. He was I think one was Burnout Revenge, and I'll probably pop that in tomorrow and see how that does. And see if I kind of get the same feeling. So some hiccups there in the translation of playing on the Series X. So, but it doesn't sound like the newer games have really had any issues.
Okay, that's good. So these consoles, for the most part, or I say for the most part, these consoles are definitely like a big jump in like power and system-wise what we've had before. We've talked about these features like quick resume, but as far as like the consoles themselves, power-wise, this is a huge jump. Like this is like you have a gaming PC all of a sudden, and it's like on par with like or close to on par with what's out there right now.
Yeah.
From what I'm getting. I'm not a PC gamer that's really into this. I have a gaming PC, but mine's also like 7 years old, and like regular computers are just kind of almost starting to catch up to it. But
yeah,
go ahead. I was going to say, like, I'm curious about how much of a difference there's going to be between power and whatnot and visual clarity and smoothness between the two consoles.
I think, we were talking about the millions of pixels this thing both of them will be able to draw. And I recommend everyone go watch the Unreal Engine 5 demo on the PS5. Because we need to understand what this can do. We just don't have a game right now that's taking a full advantage of it. Nothing that's like really tipped it to like halfway or even like really stressed these things out yet. One thing
which is impressive in and of itself.
Very impressive. I mean, let's just go back to backwards compatibility for a second. You know, you hear your fan like, I love the game Control, but I always heard my Xbox One X rev up to play it. It's a beautiful game, but it you start to feel like, okay, it may not be pushing it, it may not be stressed, but it's definitely working. The fan on the Series X has repeatedly been like, people are like, I don't notice it. Like, is it on?
Wow.
And you felt like, oh, that's just one person. No, go watch people's reviews, the people who have been on the early playtest, and everybody says the same thing. Like, I can't hear the thing. And that's it playing some of the best Xbox One games. So I can only imagine when we really get to push this thing, like, is that performance and heating? Like, is it still? I think it'd be fine. So let me go back to the drawing of triangles. Like, watch that Unreal Engine 5. Not again, that's for PS5. But I just want to be I want to be honest with folks that like, there's not a massive performance like drop off between either one of these. Whether one will be able to do something better architecturally, that's still will have to remains to be seen when we get more games on it. But I would say from the onset, like anyone that's like, this one's clearly better because it can do it. I'm like,
yeah, that doesn't actually exist at this point. Like we just don't know.
Yeah, we really.
And like reviewers might know if they got copies of both, but we're not at a point technologically speaking where we're going to be able to figure that out very well.
Yeah, because
we don't have a Witcher 3 lying around for them or something like that, or Witcher 4, I guess would be that.
Like my gut leans toward Series X, but I'm not going to make that prognostication until I get to actually try.
Right.
I want to play that killer PS5 and that killer Xbox app before I say that.
Yeah. So when I think about what game system I want to buy, I'm thinking about like, what am I getting for my dollar? Like, what is the best package that I'm going to be able to have access to with my money? So take like the previous generation when it came down to whether or not I wanted a PlayStation 4 versus an Xbox One. Really was just thinking a lot about like, well, what games does it have? What games are my friends on? Who am I like? Am I going to be able to play with my friends on this? And how expensive is stuff on there? And at the time, specifically for me, PS5 or PS4 went out for that. I might actually go back on that now. But Spider-Man is really good. But as far as PS5 versus Xbox, or PS5 versus Xbox Series X/Series S.
Gosh, yeah. Don't get me started on naming conventions.
Yeah, exactly. We need to figure out something. The first thing I thought of is not appropriate.
What, SF?
XEX. I don't know.
Bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. But as far as like what you're getting access to, I honestly feel like I know a lot more about what I'm getting access to with the Xbox Series X. So I know that the Xbox Series X, I'm going to get access to Game Pass Ultimate, which is going to include EA Play for me. And it also apparently is going to include Disney Plus for a short time. We know that Xbox plays a whole lot friendlier with other consoles when it comes to crossplay compatibility.
Yeah. Speaking of Destiny, we're going to have that crossplay here very, very soon.
Good, because I've been wanting it for a hot minute now. I know that with an Xbox, I'm going to be able to play everything all the way back up to the original Xbox on that thing. Now, whether or not it's going to be a good experience remains to be seen, but I'll at least be able to do it if I want to.
Yeah.
We know that the controllers are compatible, like backwards compatible.
I will say that I think that's one area where for PS5 games, and I'm hearing a lot about the Astrobot games. Like if you want to understand how good the 3D audio and the haptic feedback on the PS5 controller is, you should go check that game out. So that'll be on my list to try this week.
Okay.
So like just as far as like a refresh and a new controller design, it sounds like PS5 is winning in that regard. I don't want to knock on Xbox because hey, Sony did the same controller for free generations effectively. Like I know there was changes between the PS2 controller or the PS1 controller, added analog sticks, and then PS2 to PS3, and you had the wireless 6-axis stuff. I was like, but effectively the feel of the controller was the same.
That's the same, yeah.
So I don't want to knock Xbox for like, hey, it ain't broke. We're gonna add this share button, and I've heard that the bottoms have gotten a little more textured, so like if you sweat, you like it's not a hard texture, so it's not like uncomfortable, but it's just like a little bit of a grip. So the controller feels like it wants to stay in your hand a little bit longer. So I'm like,
yeah.
So I don't want to knock them for that, but I really want to kind of give Sony a little bit of a nod of like, all right, I see you doing a little Nintendo stuff. I see you trying to mix it up a little bit. All right.
Well, and for me, that actually is a big deal because I love my Nintendo Switch Pro controller so much. I love that I only have to charge it once every like 4 months. I love that. That's not even remotely a joke. I had to charge it for the first time yesterday in 4 months. I'm dead serious. I love how easily accessible it is. I love that I don't feel like I'm going to drop the thing. It has all the motion controls built into it anyways. Like it's a really, really good controller. And it's not something to be underestimated when it comes to consoles because you want a controller that like you enjoy using. But as far as PS5, the system goes, the only thing that I know about what I'm getting with that system is obviously I'm going to have access to the Spider-Man games. Sony has a bigger focus, it seems, on console exclusive games, which, to be fair, their console exclusives are very good. It's not to be underestimated at all. They don't play as friendly with other consoles when it comes to playing with your friends, but we do know the stuff that they have on their consoles is quite good. They are apparently trying to do some sort of Game Pass-like service, but I don't really feel like I know that much about it. And it's not out of lack of effort to figure that out. It's really just we don't have a lot of information about what that's going to be like, and the console's releasing tomorrow.
Yeah. I would say Sony's definitely failed in that regard. They didn't do good
Mhm.
the previous generation. They've already not started. They've already not started this one off well. It's easy now. It's an easy thing to fix because all you gotta do is just drop a service and be like, "Hey, we've had this in the works," and boom, go. But as far as like
Mhm.
rumors, like I can't tell you. Like, I haven't heard anything. Nothing has been like, "Oh
Yeah, we
man, this
just
thing's
don't know.
we just don't know."
And Sony's not trying to let us know.
You know, and it's like they don't understand like the business model going forward is like you already know you're not making money off your console. Like that has not been the thing.
Mhm.
You know, like you haven't really made tons of money off your console since the PS2 days.
Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. The PS4 over time eventually became much
Okay.
easier seller. But if we're talking about like per cost of unit, like the only things that have been super successful in that way has been like PS2, the Wii, and probably the Switch. I'll have to kind of go back through those numbers, but if
Yeah,
I'm
that might
willing
be
to
true
bet
too.
right now, I bet the Switch is kind of in that sweet spot of like didn't cost us too much, but then also made a good amount on it.
Yeah.
Um,
I would love to see Sony come out with something like that, especially give access to their older titles. Like, give us access to some of these classic PS1, PS2 era titles. You guys have a lot of good library stuff on those consoles that people would honestly jump to your consoles to be able to have access to play those things again.
Yeah.
Or like give us remastered collections or something. I don't really want that as opposed to a service. I'd rather pay for a service. But
I'd rather pay for service because I am not going to keep
yeah,
buying remasters. You know, I picked up
yeah.
Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age for the PS4 yesterday, and
Mhm.
you know, then I was thinking about it. I think I saw, what did I see? I saw Final Fantasy 10, and I didn't get it because I already had it. I already had the PS3 remaster. Um, but if we're talking about like what will I be able to play forward, it's like, dang, I might as well go back and get that 10 one because at least now I can play it on the PS5 right alongside of Zodiac Age. So, but
And therein lies the problem, though, between the Xbox and the PlayStation, because if PlayStation had taken Xbox's or cues with that, you would be able to do that. Like honestly, you would. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like players feel like and I as a player feel like I'm going to be able to save more money and have more things that I have access to with an Xbox. And I know that might not mean that I would get to play like any Spider-Man games going forward or Horizon Zero, whatever comes next. And obviously the God of War series, assuming that the God of War rumor I heard the other day wasn't true. But that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Players want consoles that are going to be friendly to the consumer. And while the PS5 is a very, very, very good console, like this is not knocking it as a console. Like it's doggone good, y'all. So is the Xbox, but PlayStation 5 is like it's not to be underestimated. But it just depends on what you're looking for. If you're a player, if you're not old like us and you don't care about all these old games, I'm just being honest. If you don't care about all these old games, then PS5 is probably a good deal for you going forward. Like you're gonna have access to a lot of really good titles, but if you want to be able to have access to like a huge library of things that already exist, the Xbox is probably the better deal for you. And I think that's the biggest difference between those. And it might come down to what generation of gamers are we reaching out to with our consoles and who's going to buy that because of it.
You know, and if so the reports were coming out months ago about backwards compatibility usage. And it's not that people don't use it; it's just not as big of a number as we would have thought. Now, I also feel like that's a little. I feel like those numbers are a little misleading because it didn't take into account how many people are playing older games on other consoles because
That's true.
they can't play, you know. To be clear, I applaud Xbox for the backwards compatibility because I appreciate what I can play, have been able to play forward onto my console, and just having the Xbox One catalog, like all that will be just. There's no issues there, so that's a full backwards compatibility. And you knew that from the get go because of how they were going to set up the system architecture of like, yeah, we see the Series X, even though it's a leap in generations, we still see this as a family of systems, which goes back to the confusing name scheme. We'll get to it. Okay. But yeah, I had no doubt. I was like, oh yeah, Xbox One's or the Series X is going to play Xbox One games, and it did. I'm like, okay, and it carried everything forward from the previous one. But when they say it's not important, it's like, okay, but how many people still have to own a PS2 because, you know, maybe they had a fat PS3 and it died, and they're like, well, shoot, I still need to be able to play my PS2 games, and they still got a PS2 hanging around the
This
house.
guy. This is that. This is who that happened to.
I mean, how many people still have a PS3 just because remember the PS3s can still play PS1 games. So I'm like, who's got one of those lying around, or still got a GameCube, or maybe a Wii that can play the Wii and the GameCube, like, you know, or kept their virtual console downloads and stuff just because they're like, I'm not repaying for this, you know. So that's kind of where I feel like when they say like people don't really use it, it's like they might if you get
yeah,
actual...
the data research on that doesn't exist how it needs to, if that makes sense.
So if they're talking about actual playtime on their console, I don't think they're lying about that. It's like you can track, you can see how people are playing on this. Like I think you're accurate on that, but you don't know how many people are. And like the one thing I want to say about the Xbox backwards compatibility is like there's still plenty of games on the 360 and Xbox that don't go forward. And I wonder, even as impressive as Xbox's backwards compatibility has been, like, are there some gems on there that you can't, play? Because I can think of a few.
Viewers in the comments, if you want to let us know how you're feeling about these two consoles, or if you've already bought one, let us know in the comments what you're thinking too. We would love to hear what y'all's input is. So Kenny, you're a collector of video games now, to say the least. As somebody who has access to all these older games and whatnot, how are you feeling about your two purchases? Like, which one do you think is going to get more playtime for you?
And
that means like going forward, like collecting stuff too.
Ugh. So the tricky thing is like, as far as backwards compatibility games on the Xbox, I have most of the ones that like of the games I want to play, I have them, or they're already playable on a different console, or I would play them on the Xbox or 360. There's still a lot of Xbox One games I bought that I need to go through. I could say the same thing for some of my PS4 games. It's like, so at least in that way, I've got plenty of those to play on either one. You know, I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Squadrons VR, and I'm super excited that actually I just got in the mail my little adapter. We were talking last week or 2 weeks ago that PS5 was Sony was gonna send out the adapters, and just got it. So I'm like, woo!
Nice.
You know, so if my gut says Xbox, my gut just says I'm probably playing my Xbox more. But I don't feel like it's gonna be so drastic. It might be like I played a couple more hours per week on the Xbox compared to my compared to my PS5. I don't think it'll be like, oh, I just went months without playing. Like I highly doubt that happening. Plus, I just love VR too much to not like. Squadrons is so good. Squadrons by itself is so good that and then that Hitman 3 VR edition that they have. It's like, yeah, that's gonna keep me on. But yeah, I lean towards that. I'm still more of an Xbox fan. I don't think there's any secret on that, you know, because you and me have talked about, you know, when 360 launched, even with the Red Ring issues, you could at least afford to get a 360, and you know, it's funny you're talking about collecting. I went back and looked through some games, and I was like, wait, why did I start buying that on the 360? I used to always buy it on PlayStation, and it's because I just couldn't buy the PS3 then. They're like, I can't do it. So there's some games I normally would have bought. Yeah, like the Tony Hawk series. I always played it on PlayStation. Always played it on PlayStation. And then I saw like like American Wasteland, Project 8, Proving Grounds on 360. And I'm like, what? What the hell? Why? Why is that there?
Excuse me? So here's something we haven't really been talking about. So we've mainly been talking about like the main powerful consoles, but then there's also the two lesser powered consoles. I'm not going to say underpowered because they're definitely better than what we've got right now. But between the two lesser powered consoles.
I have thoughts, but go ahead.
No. I want you to go ahead with those thoughts. I want to know what your thoughts are on this because you speak tech better than I do.
If I were anyone, I would not buy the Series S. And the main reason being, or actually, here's the problem. Series S may turn out to be good later down the line, as far as when we actually going back to those tests, like when we actually get to put a really good series game on it and see how it compares between the S and the X. That might be like, oh, okay, it actually. But if you're talking about right now, why would you get rid of your Xbox One X for that Series S when they're reasonably the same? Like now the chip technically is better in the S. So that's what I'm talking about. Like down the road, it might show that it's well better than the Xbox One X. So I get that. So if anyone's like, well, we already know it's gonna be like, okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm talking about right this moment. Unless you can get a Series X.
Specific moment, yeah.
I just don't see a reason to do that. Now,
I gotcha.
PS5 on the other hand, I think it's just more of like a what do you want to do going forward? Are you done with physical media? And are you good buying the hard because you're gonna have to put money on hard drive space anyway. But yeah, if you're fine with that, go get the digital. I think.
Do they have a form of hard drive expansion for that?
So that's the note we put in the show notes, right before. Like I found it right before we got on. So if you've like I'm thinking my recent gaming PC, the NVMe slots, you have 2 SSD slots. Typically, one's going to be where you boot from. You can still store stuff on it, but one's typically going to be where you boot from. One will be the expanded storage. Xbox is effectively doing the same thing. You just see yours as a slot, so it's effectively the same thing. All the key difference is that Xbox is proprietary. It's like you got to buy our version, and Sony is like, no, you'll be able to put whichever one you want in it, but not right now. And that's an interesting issue because Sony said there's some compatibility problems, which makes me a little worried. They made it sound like you'd be able to put any SSD that you wanted in that second slot, or potentially take the one that's in there out, and upgrade that one. So effectively have 2 really banging SSDs on that board. And they've kind of backpedaled. Like, to be fair, they have not said it will not work. That's not what they said. But they said it's not going to work right now, and that makes compatibility issues. That makes me a little worried. That's not what I like to hear. Right, like you waited till this week to say something like that.
So when they say not right now, and there's a compatibility issue, like, does that mean it's a software issue that they can just fix later at the patch? Because if it's a hardware issue, it
can't be a hardware. If it is a hardware issue,
that's a
unless it is fixable with firmware or something like that. Now, again, I don't want to overblow it, but it's just my radar went off hearing that.
That could be really bad.
I would have to think they've tested. Like, if I'm being optimistic, what it just sounds like is that maybe Sony's going to come out with a list of approved SSDs and be like, hey, if you try to use these brands, we've tried them. It just doesn't work. That would be, that'd be fine. Because you have, trying to think of a good example. Trying to remember. I feel like, my brain's gonna blank. But I feel like we've had some similarity, you could use this one, but it's not gonna work as well. Actually, I have a good example. Switching your hard drive out on your Xbox One and your PS4, it's like, yeah, you could put some bigger ones on there, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna work as well as the ones that are within the approved ranges. So you could put a 3 terabyte hard drive into your PS4, but it doesn't mean that it's going to recognize it very well. Same thing for Xbox One. You could put a bigger one in there. This doesn't mean it was going to always play nicely with it if you got past 2 terabytes. It could be something that's like that. It's just more of like, okay, hey, we've tested these, so if we thought it was going to be all of them, and it turns out it's not going to be, so we'll put the compatibility list out. That would be my optimistic assessment of what's going on. My negative one is, dear God, I hope it's not a hardware issue, because you're right, that's not a good thing. You don't want to have to be sending in your PS5 after having waited. If I have to do that,
Oh, it'd be
05
so
on-
bad. There's so much bad PR. But I don't see it outside the realm of possibility either, is the thing. Like, especially with how they were like, we need to do this, like everything. With how much they've backpedaled on things as time has progressed since the initial announcement, I would not be surprised if that was the case.
Yeah. And
yeah.
that was something I was very excited about for PS5, just because I didn't want to have to pay for the Microsoft expansion, then their proprietary hard drive. I was like, yeah, if I find a deal on a good one that's cheaper than yours or Xbox's, yeah, I want to be able to use that. So that's also worrisome, because I'm like, that was going to be a tick in your positive column that now I got to put a waffle.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
All right, so going to these consoles. Tomorrow we're going to get 2 consoles. There's only one exclusive or console exclusive game releasing, which is Demon's Souls.
Well, yeah, Xbox tomorrow and then Sony on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to give our input on each. We're going to give each of our individual inputs on these because we may not agree on everything. So for me, I really think that it comes down, if I'm thinking about main consoles, it really just for me comes down to, are you wanting to have a historic backlog of video games, or do you just straight up not care about that? If that's not your thing, then honestly, probably the PS5 is a better deal for you. They're going to have more exclusives. They're going to have Final Fantasy 16. The console, the spec differences don't matter between the two of them, honestly. Like, you're getting a really good, beautiful looking console between the two of them, and it's just straight up not going to matter on that front. But it really just comes down to what kind of games are you looking for. If you're looking for new games that are really good, Xbox will eventually have those, but PS5 is going to have more of them probably. And the ones that are coming to Xbox aren't going to be as exciting to players that don't have that history. Like, Halo's good, but it's better for those of us that have that history. Fable is also very good, but if you've never played the original Fable, you probably don't care and you don't understand why we're so excited about that. And I get that. When you're talking about digital consoles, Kenny's right. The Series S right now is not a great thing to buy unless you just want a console that can play Game Pass. But if you want something that can play like other things, then probably not. Don't get that. The PS5's digital version is more powerful than it is. You're going to be able to do everything that you could do with the PS5 pretty much with it. If you don't care about physical media, then it's probably the console for you. And that's about probably how I feel about it. And now I'm cheap and I like being able to buy like used games. So obviously I'm going to go with the bigger console. I'm just being honest.
No, I mean, that's why I wanted the disc, and there's also, you and me have talked about when is the other foot going to drop with Game Pass? And because it just seems too good to be true. Like, it's just,
yeah.
Like, we don't even want to be those guys. It's like, that's not what we want to be. It's just like, we're looking at it and like, how?
Like, we know that Hogwarts game is coming out eventually, but there's some other kind of magic going on here. Like, what are you doing? There's not a spell to make money with. And if there is, you need to let us know what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So what are your honest thoughts between Xbox versus PS5 right now?
I think the series.
You had to summarize.
For me, I think the Series X wins by a smidge. Going back to what you were saying about the library, just like having a fuller library. If it didn't have that, that would automatically be like a PS5 wins that category hands down. Like, even like if I'm technically only given a check mark for launch titles, then I guess PS5 would. I wouldn't even feel good giving it that check mark, given how many things it's like losing Cyberpunk. I know that was that's cross-platform, but but also being able to play that along with Demon's Souls and Miles Morales might have been a little bit more of a like, oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. But even still, and we're gonna clarify for viewers real quick. When we talk about console exclusive, we mean stuff that's just releasing on exclusive to the PS5. Because a bunch of their console exclusives are also releasing on PS4, so we're not counting those because it doesn't count.
Yeah, that's why it's like even Miles Morales. It's like love it, but it's hard for me to count that as a launch title. So yeah, agreed with you on the library. Like I said, performance. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's just going to be. I think that's time will tell on that more. And even on the comparison videos I've watched online, I just haven't been impressed by like, oh yeah, this one's so much. I'm like, we don't know that yet.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like Series X right now is the most logical spot for me. I feel like it will be for a lot of other gamers. The Game Pass deal is just too, especially if you're able to pay that way, for the folks that are able to do the monthly Game Pass pay and pay for the console. Like, that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's just yeah. If you're like, I don't have that much to drop right now, be like, can you pay $24.99 a month?
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. I was 100% gung ho for that, and it didn't work. But
which also, next time Xbox, just let everyone get approval before they go into it, so that when they
seriously let us do our credit approval ahead of time.
Yeah, that just didn't. Yeah, that wasn't smart. So, or queues, queues. Who gets onto the website? GameStop eventually did that. I have to give GameStop props for that. They did really well with that. Yeah, my pre-test right now, I say Xbox. I'm gonna record my unboxing. Might just do it live and be right here on this table. I'm gonna test it here in the room first, then I'll eventually set them up right in their forever homes in the living room. Yeah.
Forever homes.
So I will do a kind of an impressions verdict after I get to play both of them. Just kind of like, this is where I'm feeling right now. And then hopefully, like, after, I guess I want to come back after a couple months, probably after like Cyberpunk comes out, and let's see, hopefully we get a Halo release date and know exactly when Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that's coming out. Like, when it, like, really get a good first party game in there and play it, and then kind of come back and be like, this is how I feel. Yeah.
All right. And I do want to give Sony or Microsoft, we want to give you guys props for managing to pull off these consoles this year. We know that development-wise, it's been really hard for game developers this year. And we've seen a lot of game developers really pull some things together this year, and it's been really cool to watch that happen. We genuinely appreciate that. We appreciate you guys still managed to get these consoles out for the holidays. We appreciate that you didn't charge us nearly as much as we thought we were going to be charged for these consoles. So thank you for that, and we hope that your console sales do well in the midst of this.
Yeah, when PC gamers shit on the console folks, especially this generation, I'm kind of like, okay, go on somewhere with that noise. All right.
Yeah, normally they're right, but right now they're not.
Yeah.
Like, when we tell you guys that these consoles are incredibly powerful and very good, like, we're not joking.
Yeah. Like,
they're very good deals for what you're getting.
Mm-hmm. And that's the key word, good deals. I don't think that there's a console, or I don't think there probably is some console idiot that would say consoles are play better than a PC. I'm like, no, I wouldn't make that argument. It's like, I know a PC can outperform it. I know that. But if we're talking about deal, if we're talking about the best deal, consoles have been winning that pretty handedly for a while. Now, again, it's much easier to make a budget Xbox One level PC now. So to be fair, it's like in that realm, it's easier now. But think back.
Yeah, but even like I was gonna say, even with this laptop that I'm sitting on right now, this is an Asus laptop that was $1,200 when it released. This new console is gonna run circles around that. Like, that's a big deal.
$700 less.
Yes. You can't really beat that, and you can play your movies and DVDs on it, or Blu-rays.
Who has those anymore?
I do. I have lots of Blu-rays.
Oh, man.
Because I don't trust digital media.
You don't trust the digital media?
I only buy stuff digital when it's a really good deal, like Nier Automata. Which, it'll be nice to be able to play something like that and not feel like I have a jet engine sitting on top of my shelf.
I was about to pick that up yesterday, but I was like, I'm going to wait.
It's so good.
Because
the Black it's so Friday,
good. I was like, I saw the price for it. I'm like, I might as well just wait. I'll just wait, see if.
How much is it?
The place I saw, was it 29? Where was I at?
Okay.
It was like 29, but it was a brand new copy, and I was like, okay, I should just wait, because if they have that,
probably
Best Buy might have it. or somewhere I might have it. I'll just grab it. But yeah, it's been on my list. I'm gonna pick it up.
Get the Game of the Yorha one. Like I got the digital one of that for $20 the other day, and it's so good.
All right.
But yeah. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. If you want to hit that follow or a subscribe button on YouTube, like that would be great. We appreciate having people who like our stuff. We like seeing that you like it, and we honestly want to hear back from you guys more so we can get some good feedback on what content you all want to see. So this week we've got a few more things happening. Kenny's talking about how he's going to do a little bit of his unboxing stuff this week. We'll have to see exactly what you're planning on doing that. Are you gonna like whether or not you do like a live stream of it or you do
I'll
recording of it?
So just watch the Facebook page and I'll go live. So you'll see me and I'll be here in the room and have this table cleared off, unbox the Series X, and then same thing Thursday morning. Do the same thing. And then I'll spend the weekend play testing. Woo!
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another quick note I'll add in here because we meant to talk about this and I just forgot. So if you're looking for like what specifically with these consoles, if you're looking for what games you're going to have access to this week specifically, the Xbox Series X is going to have.
Right.
I want to say, yeah, we have a list of this right here.
The chart in. So these were the actual exclusives between the PS5 and Xbox Series X between the first and third party games.
Okay. Yeah. Is this a chart I'm looking at? All right. Yeah. So for PlayStation 5, you'll have access to Astro's Playroom, Bug Snacks, which don't knock it. It looks like a ton of fun. Demon Souls, Godfall, which is a timed exclusive, mind you. So you'll be able to get that on Xbox in like 6 months. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales will come with the PS4 Spider-Man as well as the Miles Morales adventure.
If you get the
so basically 2 games for one. Yeah, if you get the Ultimate Edition,
or you
it'll
pay
have
for
both
that
of those.
add-on or something. And I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I don't know how much that is. Sackboy, A Big Adventure. For those who don't know what Sackboy is, it's this crazy fun platformer game that's just wild and ridiculous and good.
Little Big Planet.
And another game called The Pathless. For Xbox Series X, you'll have access to The Falconeer and Yakuza Like a Dragon. And as far as third-party consoles go or games go, you'll have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Just Dance 2021, and not Cyberpunk because it's not coming out till December 10th. But you should get it anyway because it's going to be really good, and they're trying to make a good game. If you're looking for stuff to watch this week, you can catch up on Star Trek Discovery Season 3. Episode 4 will be out this week. The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2 will be coming out this week. I don't really know what else is coming out on TV because everything's been shut down production-wise for months now. But you can always jump on Netflix, and maybe we should do a show one day where we talk about the stuff that's like older that people need to catch up and watch if they haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, West Wing's going to be on that list.
West Wing would definitely be on that list.
Oh, it's so good. As far as Nerd Union shows you can keep up with this week, Kenneth's going to have his show, the Commander Ship Show, where they talk about movies and TV. That'll be Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Every Wednesday we have that show on the channel.
Yeah, we took a break this past week because of election recovery and drinking and hungoverness. But
still doing it.
We'll be back this week, so I apologize. So we'll cover everything we missed from last week, and then some updates this coming week.
Yeah. If you missed our first episode of Couch Co-op, you can go to our channels and rewatch that. Honestly, Couch Co-op is a lot of fun. We just sat around, we played Among Us for a couple hours and laughed more than I've laughed in a long time, and it was a lot of fun. And we think you guys will enjoy the episodes too. The next episode of Couch Co-op is going to not be this week. It's a monthly show, but it'll be on December 4th. So you can go ahead and mark that in your calendar. We don't know what we're going to play, but if you have input on what you want to see us play, leave a comment on the video, and we'll check that out and think about playing that for the next time. We'll have Kenneth's Xbox Series X and PlayStation videos coming out. We'll have our first episode of Red Shirt Rejects next Monday night. Red Shirt Rejects is going to be our weekly Star Trek show. I almost said Star Wars like an idiot.
So
it like started to creep into my brain. I'm like, how dare you go away?
So one note about that, me and Kyle will be starting that off, and then one of our resident alumni, Wild Turkey, Zach Nichols, will be taking over. So I'll kind of go back to producer role once he jumps in. But we just want to make sure we got the show started. So me and Kyle will kind of be co-hosting that for a bit. Zach will jump back in, and I'll still talk some Trek because I'm the main one watching Discovery. So I'm the one that's got all Discovery news, and then keep that going.
Yeah.
When Picard comes
I
out,
might jump in with you on the burns.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we're starting another rewatch series. For those of you who enjoyed the Battlestar Galactica rewatch, we're going to be watching the prequel series, Caprica. And that's going to start November 10th. And what time are you planning on doing that?
It's been at 7 p.m. Central each week.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Actually, sorry, one update I didn't get on there. That's going to start next week. It'll be on the 17th. This week we're going to watch The Plan. It's one of the Battlestar Galactica TV movies they did. So everyone can come join us on the Discord and watch it with us if they want to. But that'll also be at 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you're not on the Discord, hop on over to our Facebook page, leave a like, and we'll leave a link for the Discord on there. Join up with us on there, and bring a friend. Honestly, if we've talked about stuff that your friends would enjoy, go ahead and tell them to follow our page and check out a few things, and then we'll try to get some more stuff in there that you guys like. That's all we've got for this week. And hope you had fun with State of the Nerd Union this week. We'll see you next time.